In this video, I'm going to show some examples of how to evaluate expressions using order of operations. Remember that our order of operations is parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division all in the same step, and then addition and subtraction all in the same step. And we, of course, perform all of these from left to right. When I'm doing these, I like to rewrite every single step as I go. So on question number 1, I'm going to go ahead and start out by writing the entire problem down and then performing one step at a time. The first step in the order of operations is parentheses, and I do these in order from left to right. Once you get inside the parentheses, this is the first parentheses that I see. Once you get inside the parentheses right here, you start all over again. So I look for more parentheses. There are not any nested parentheses here, so I move straight on to exponents, and that's my next step. There is an exponent, 13 squared, which means 13 times 13. 13 times 13 is 169. I'm going to go ahead and write that answer down and then rewrite every single other part of the problem. I'm not going to try to combine multiple steps at once. I realize you might be able to do that in your head, but I found that if you try to do multiple steps at once, you end up accidentally making mistakes. Okay, we are still in this same parentheses and there's only one operation in this parentheses, which is division. So that's what we're going to do. 169 divided by 7. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm going to do that out to the side. And it looks like I'm going to get a fraction answer. So I've got 24 and 1/7. And I'll replace that entire parentheses now with 24 and 1/7. And rewrite every other part of the problem. Notice that I got rid of these parentheses right here now because there's nothing left in them other than 24 and 1/7. Now that I have finished the first parentheses of this problem, I'm now to the second parentheses. So even though I went through the whole order of operations inside this first parentheses, I now have to do the same thing in the second parentheses. Of course, in the second parentheses, there's only one operation, but I need to go ahead and do it. 14 plus 9 is 23. And I'm going to go ahead and rewrite every other part of my problem. And now I'm left with only one operation, 24 and 1/7 minus 23, which is 1 and 1/7. So our answer is A. On question 2, I'm also going to rewrite the entire problem and then do it one step at a time. So the first part of order of operations is parentheses. So I need to go inside this parentheses right here and do everything in it before I move on to anything else. Of course, there's only one thing in it. 5 plus 3 is 8. And now I'm going to rewrite every single other thing. I can get rid of the parentheses because I've done everything inside of them, but that exponent, the 3, this exponent, stays with the 8. I've finished now parentheses, so I'm ready to move on to exponents in order from left to right. And I see an exponent right here, 8 cubed. 8 cubed means 8 times 8 times 8. That would be 64 times 8. And I don't know what that is, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply that out. That would be 512. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite every other part of the problem. And now in my order of operations, I don't see any more exponents, so I can move on to multiplication and division in order from left to right. And I come across division right here. So 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. Rewrite everything else. And now I'm down to just one operation, 512 minus 6.5, which would be 505 and 1/2. Choice A. On question 3, I'm going to rewrite everything. And it looks like we have a multiplication sign. It's a little bit hard to see right here, but that's a multiplication sign. So our first step is to go inside the parentheses and do everything from left to right in there, following the order of operations. In this case, there's only one operation. 14 plus 4 is 18. I don't need the parentheses anymore because I've finished everything in them. Now I can go on to the next step, which is exponents. Again, doing it from left to right, but I only see one exponent. 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36. Rewrite everything. I don't see any more exponents, so I'm ready to do multiplication or division, whichever one I see first, going from left to right. And I see 18 times 3. 18 times 3 is 54. And then I only have one more operation, 54 minus 36, which is 18. And our last question, let me rewrite it all. Again, we have another multiplication sign right there, a little bit hard to see. Parentheses first, then do everything in the parentheses according to the order of operations from left to right. But there's only one operation here. 10 plus 3 is 13. Rewrite everything. Again, don't get in a hurry to try to do multiple steps at once. It's very easy to get out of the order of operations if you do that. Next step is exponents, and I only see one exponent. So 2 cubed means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Rewrite everything. Next is multiplication or division from left to right. And I see multiplication there, 13 times 11. If you don't know 13 times 11, go ahead and multiply it out. And you'll end up with 143. Rewrite everything. We're down to 143 minus 8, which is 135.